Boom. We are back. Hello, everyone. This is what we like to call the MMA After Hour. This is when the freaks come out. This is when we let our hair down. This is when we get down and dirty. This is when we answer your questions and respond to your comments. You've been sending them to us. Hashtag the MMA Hour. It has been a great day here in our New York City studio. It has been a fun time. And I think we have some questions. There's certainly a lot going on in the world of MMA. Before we get to the questions, and Mr. New York Rick, who I think is still there.
Ooh.
Is he there? Oh, there he is. Wanted to give a shout out. I wanted to get this. Just a second. Should have had this fired up, but here it is. Wanted to give a shout out to a friend of the program, to an MMA veteran, UFC veteran, WEC veteran, Javier Vasquez. It came out late last week that he is battling stage 3. Well, he's battling colon cancer. A stage 3 tumor was removed recently, and had a chance to briefly text with him. Of course, some of you may know that colon cancer is near and dear to my family's heart. My wife's father beat colon cancer. In fact, he runs a colon cancer charity, the Colorectal Cancer Association of Canada, and he is an inspiration. So I just wanted to send some good vibes toward Javier. The MMA community has a knack for rallying around its own. In fact, they've already raised almost $40,000 for Javier. So we wish him the best. One of the best to ever do it. Brilliant jiu-jitsu teacher as well. And been watching him for a lot of years. So I just wanted to wish him well and hope that he gets through this tough period in his life. We're all pulling for him. Now let us answer some questions.
Really happy you did that.
Yep.
Met Javier at Metamoris too. Really good guy.
Yeah, tremendous guy.
Difficult.
He's been, I actually kept in touch with him over the years, even after he left MMA. And so was really bummed to hear about this, but have no doubt that he is going to fight through it, come out better on the other side, and hopefully he'll be fully healthy once again in no time.
We start with a question that, I don't even know how we're going to answer it. First question. When Mayweather McGregor fight?
This is what your first question is? What's wrong with you?
When Mayweather McGregor fight?
There's so many ways that we can go with this one. I guess August 26th.
Boom. I think you nailed it.
All right. If you're asking for the time, my guess is around 11:30 Eastern.
No, it's got to be later than that, no?
No, I'm
thinking it's probably going to...
That's boxing. Really? Well, they announced the full card, and boxing likes to do it that way. They don't like to make you wait too long.
Mayweather Pacquiao didn't go on until after midnight, if I recall correctly.
I feel like that's... I haven't been told this. I'm guessing, but this is my...
We'll see. Right around that time is probably the area, but I would guess it's going to be closer to midnight. These things become spectacles, and then it runs longer, and then everybody's sitting there waiting on 7 minutes of prep, then the 20-minute walkouts and all that.
That's gonna be great.
It's going to take a while. Anyway, moving on to more serious questions. Have you been swayed one way or the other on Mayweather McGregor based on the open workouts? Did that impact you in any way regarding what you thought of the fight? Now, you're saying Conor was taking his foot off the gas purposefully.
No, my big takeaway was they're both in great shape. Floyd still got it at 40. It was very hot in there.
Oh, what? The Floyd not having it at 40 thing is like...
40 is 40,
No, stop it. When you keep your body in that kind of shape, haven't taken the damage over the years...
Okay, but he has not fought in 2 years.
50.
He has not fought in 2 years.
You think that looks like a man who hasn't been in the gym in 2 years?
No, but we didn't know that. I was not privy to his gym sessions, if there were any. The big story on Thursday was Leonard Ellerbe really stealing the show. Leonard has a knack for not saying much. He came out and was fired up. And I thought it was most interesting that he said the gate, at least as of Thursday, was already at 60 million. 60 million. The highest gate in UFC history was MSG 205. That was 18 million. This is 60 million. The record is 72 million. That's Mayweather Pacquiao. And he said that they're going to blow right by it. He said that they're already double Triple G Canelo. He claimed that Triple G Canelo wasn't even sold out yet, while they're claiming a sellout, T-Mobile and the promoters. He was talking about the haters and the boxing media and all this stuff. He was going on. It was great. It was great theater. Leonard was great. And then Floyd showed up as well. But 60 million, that was phenomenal.
So really, though, you're essentially saying like not much to glean from these workouts from a fight perspective, but still part of the theater and the spectacle.
First of all, there were like a million people there.
There's Esther's.
Yeah. So you know what happened here?
POV.
You know what happened here?
Yeah, he pulled her out of the crowd.
Because one of the security guards was giving her some grief, and Floyd is paying attention to this. I don't know if it's in this moment. Yeah. And he's like, hey, Esther, is it here? No, it's not here.
No, she's already there now.
No, but like she was in the front. And one of the security guards, there's a moment where he's telling her like, yeah, I don't know, he's just giving her some trouble. And Floyd sees this and pulls her out of the crowd so that she can get the best spot. And then he's actually looking at her.
Yeah, that was right there.
Oh, it was right there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was great. But for me, like I wasn't going to get front and center because I just had my phone. Like I'm not Casey with the camera.
Yeah, we saw you hiding in the.
Well, yeah. Listen, I know my role. I'm not going to get in someone's shot. So I was kind of afar, talking to Jim Gray, who was really cool. You know Jim Gray, right?
Yeah, of course.
Famously did the Decision interview with LeBron James, the Pete Rose interview. I mean, this guy's seen and done it all. In fact, after our interview was giving me career advice. I mean, he could not have been a nicer guy. And then my good pal Jeff Mayweather, who was not a big fan of some of my questions.
No, I just think he was frank. I don't think he was necessarily peeved or anything.
Question. It was great.
Yeah.
Floyd Sr. was there. We had Stitch Duran. I mean, it was just so much fun being in that environment. I enjoyed it immensely.
Big Jeff Mayweather fan coming out of that.
Oh, yeah.
I just like, he shoots it straight.
You want to know something funny about Jeff Mayweather? I tried to butter him up because he didn't really want to do the interview or maybe was busy or something. And I was like, oh, by the way, I know Roy Nelson and King Mo we're buds. He has helped train them. And he's like, don't try to butter me up. Like, all right.
He's seeing through it.
Not impressed.
Not impressed.
And then, by the way, so then on Friday, Conor comes out and he does this thing. And, to me, honestly, I wasn't really looking at it with the most analytical mind, eye, and all that stuff. I was really trying to get interviews and try to make the trip worthwhile. I was not expecting Conor to show us his full hand. In fact, I will even say that he showed more than I expected.
But that's what I was saying earlier. Why show anything? Why not even, just skip it? Anyway, speaking of your interview with Conor, I think you know where I stand on this one. But how do you feel about where he compared to earlier interviews? This person is indicating that he came across calmer, more mature. How do you feel about the Conor McGregor that you spoke to?
I don't know about more mature. I mean, he's always been, I think, pretty consistent with me. It's hard for me to compare because I'm not sitting there when he's talking to someone else.
Compared to you and him earlier.
I mean, I thought it was pretty consistent. I mean, he seemed really happy to be a dad, and that was really cool. Without giving away too much, I did get some nice messages from his team about the interview and his demeanor, and that really meant a lot to me. And so, look, to sit down with him 15 days before the biggest fight of his life probably was a pretty damn cool thing. And I did not expect him to be intense. When we did that thing in Manchester, he was very. I mean, there's a crowd there, so he tends to feed off the crowd, and it's understandable.
Different environment. Know your audience.
Well, it's understandable that he's going to get amped up and try to give them what they want. But when it's just us sitting there, it's, he's going to dial it down. People tend to like I even mentioned this with his dad, I like the Conor in the suit. He's a little less loud than the Conor with the polar bear, fur coat and shirtless and the pants and all that. But I thought that he was he was very calm. He was confident. I thought his response to the racism accusations was good, was acceptable. The CJ Watson stuff was interesting. The 188 stuff with the boat. I mean, I loved it. Like I said, I had an hour left in me. And most importantly, I just have to reiterate, like, he did not have to do that, and he was not required to do that. And it really meant a lot that he would sit down and talk to us. And it just, I told Audie afterwards, I mean, I thought that was like top 10 best days of my career, just getting to talk to all the members of the team, Kavanaugh, Roddy, Lobov, Audie, Ito, and then him, in the span of a few hours. And by the way, the UFC Performance Institute is an impressive place. They really did a great job with that.
Yeah, you gave us the behind-the-scenes tour of all the stairwell with the Hall of Fame plaques.
Well, there was a lot of downtime because he worked out and then he went to eat and shower, and we were standing around there for like an hour.
The infamous shower took quite a while.
Yes, so we had some downtime. I was moseying around. I saw Forrest Griffin's office. Told him to get me those TPS reports, but it was fun. It was a really great.
Yeah, what
trip.
did Forrest say to that?
He said he'll be there on Saturday. In fact, it was weird going to Vegas and then leaving on a Saturday morning and not actually like covering a fight. Like it felt like I was there for fight week, and then I was coming home and I felt unfulfilled. You know what I mean? In a weird way, like I want to see the payoff.
Yeah,
but we're going back.
You'll be back.
We're going back.
You'll be back.
Yes.
Okay, McGregor Malignaggi.
Yes.
Is this drama something that could potentially take place under the Zuffa banner, Zuffa Boxing, down the line?
I feel like it's a Showtime thing, if anything. But maybe they co-promote. Who knows what happens? I mean, we're less than 2 weeks away from Conor fighting Floyd Mayweather. So everything's up for grabs. But
interested in that fight?
Yes. Why not?
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's almost nobody that's going to say no. Maybe they've had enough of the drama of the sparring footage, but I think clearly that's a fight that's promotable. I thought this was an interesting question. MMA fans typically tune in for prelims, typically tune in for the pre-fight stuff. I don't feel like that's as common in boxing. Do you think there might actually be more MMA fans tuning in for the undercard than boxing fans? Do you think that there's going to be some maybe potentially MMA fans who are now being exposed to some of the boxers on the undercard that to keep an eye on and growing the sport a little bit?
I think MMA fans are accustomed to not just tuning in for the main event, so they will watch the majority of it.
And they just announced the undercard.
Yeah, they announced
recently.
The undercard. There's names like, I'm actually looking. Here I got it. I tweeted the picture on Thursday. There are some. I mean, if you're even a somewhat casual fan, there are names like Gervonta Davis, Badu Jack, who spoke to us, who's from Stockholm, Steve Cunningham, know all these people. Sean Porter fighting on the Fox portion of the card. So there's a Fox prelims. Now we're not talking FS1, we're talking Big Fox, and then there's also the pay-per-view 4-fight main card. And so that's going, Sean Porter is a big name. So yeah, I think, I mean, they were mainly working with Mayweather Promotions. So there was, I guess, some talk of a Katie Taylor. Mick Conlon would have been great, but he's top ranked, so they're not going to mix. So they only had X amount of people to work with. And Leonard Ellerby said that they were trying to get a couple other names that didn't come to fruition. But I think overall it was...
I think it looks solid.
Yeah. In fact, our own Miles, the audio man, audio extraordinaire, told us that he bought tickets to watch the event at a movie theater here in New York City. How cool is that? So on Monday after, we'll get a firsthand account from Miles on the experience watching Mayweather McGregor at a movie theater. I'm excited. Where will you be watching?
Haven't decided yet.
Decided?
Don't know.
Just don't illegally stream it, all right? We're trying to keep our jobs here.
Where is this coming from?
Just wanna.
You're accusing me of pirating the Conor McGregor interview that you did. You're accusing me of pirating this upcoming fight. What is this?
How you millennials.
Do you have something to get off your chest? What's going on here? I am not a pirate.
Okay, all right.
Okay, maybe I'm a pirate.
Whoa.
Here's a question from Hurricane Gerald Harris, who's asking us, why is Gerald Harris not in the UFC, but Charlie Ward is? I don't know if we're going to answer this question, but what I will say is it sounds like we could have a possible fight between Gerald Harris and
is he 170
Charlie Ward.
now, Gerald Harris?
Yeah, remember he fought that guy who came in weighing like 215 to a 175-pound fight, and 170-pound fight, and slammed him into unconsciousness.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Charlie is still in the UFC. He's 0-2 now, and of course that was kind of a scary sequence, but it is a good question. I'd like to see Gerald get a chance. He was supposed to be on the last season of The Ultimate Fighter, but I think he had to pull out at the last minute. He's very active on Twitter.
He's campaigning, that's for sure.
Would be nice. If not,
I'd like to see Gerald there.
Let's see Bellator give him a shot. Come on.
Yeah,
Gerald's a
somebody
name. He's had some good moments.
He's had some incredible slams. That's kind of his thing. Let's see.
But yes, if you want me to answer the question, of course, Charlie's connection to Conor is going to help him. That's no secret.
Gerald, connect yourself to Conor.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Bisping GSP. Now we're officially ready for launch here. Does it do over 500K pay-per-views? Is this something that has now stood the test of time? Will people ultimately, they can gripe, they can moan about it now.
Yes.
Come fight day, are they plunking down their money to watch it?
Yes.
What do you think?
Does it do over? Yes, I think it does do over.
How much over? What do you think?
I mean, it's a little too soon. Let's see the rest of the card.
Fair?
Is yes enough? I think it's enough.
You know what? You often go out on a limb. I will accept that as enough.
And how about those numbers for 214?
Yeah.
What is it? 850 or so?
850.
Are you surprised?
I'm surprised because initially, now with a grain of salt, the UFC was saying it was looking more like 1 million. But I think 850 still beats expectations. I think everybody was kind of hovering in the 700 number. I think if you build a card properly, people are going to pay attention.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to have John Jones and Cormier. And I think Bisping and GSP is definitely box office. It's not. Look, am I dying to see that fight on paper? I'm not, but it's not the fight I'm going to turn away from. I want to see GSP and Bisping when they, if that's the fight that I'm I'm paying to see both those guys.
People are going to be excited. Don't listen to the...
Well, Bisping has a knack for making things at the last minute feel a lot more personal.
Yes.
And it's one of his greatest gifts. He will make that into compelling drama. GSP, not so much. He's not much of a salesman. Tickets on sale Wednesday. I think this might have been pushed, actually. I was seeing something on Twitter that this might have been moved to Friday. But either way... 216 doesn't have what seems like a headliner at this point. Do you know anything further? Have you heard anything about a 216 headliner?
Well, clearly you weren't listening to me earlier because I was talking about...
Yeah, you were giving options.
Well, yeah.
Where are we at?
I'm not the one.
Where are we at?
There was talk of Ferguson, Kevin Lee. I don't know if that's main event worthy, but that was one of the fights. Here's what's been announced so far according to Wikipedia. And I told you guys, again, the Stipe Kane thing was never going to happen. Beneil Dariush versus Evan Dunham, Nick Lentz versus Will Brooks, Marco Beltran versus Matt Schnell, Walt Harris versus Mark Godbeer, Magomed Bulatov against John Moraga, Abel Trujillo against Lando Venata, although I do believe that fight has now been changed. I think that it's now Bobby Green versus Lando Venata. Yeah, Trujillo's out. I feel like Trujillo and Green always kind of end up in the same story. Taos Ladies against Brad Tavares. And Pearl Gonzalez is on the card. Paige against Jessica Ai has been rumored, and I heard that there was some talk of that, but there's no... I mean, they're trying. They're trying, but there is no sure
If it got a headliner, it's a solid card. You add one more, pretty decent fight to that. Now, the unfortunate part is 215 looks pretty solid. 217 looks pretty solid. I think you're probably plunking right in the middle of
2 title fights at 215. You're going to have multiple title fights at 217.
Yeah.
I mean, to me right now, it's an FS1 card.
Yeah. Maybe ultimately, if they can't, plug in something to headline it, maybe that's where they go. Okay.
We shall see.
Kyle is asking us, UFC Pittsburgh will be the first event he attends live. How does it compare live to watching TV? I'm curious on your thoughts on it.
I will say that every MMA fan should watch the UFC live at least once, twice.
I agree with this
event.
Completely.
That being said, I prefer the experience on television more.
Does that, now let me ask you this, does that apply for all sports or MMA specifically?
No, I'm talking about UFC specific. I'm talking about the angles, the cage blocking you off when you're in attendance, the broadcasters, especially now, I think the broadcast teams are doing a great job.
Sure.
And in fact, when I'm at the events, more often than not, I don't even step foot in the arena because I prefer to watch it on television.
But that's also a work versus live experience from a fan perspective.
Look, I've watched it a couple times in person. I bought tickets to UFC 78 when they were in Newark, New Jersey. That was Rashad Evans versus Michael Bisping. But I find that sometimes the cage is tough to to see through, and I find that I'm watching the big screen more often than not.
Yep.
Now, like there are some sporting events. Hockey, I think, is better in person than it is on television. Football, I think, is better in TV than it is in person. Basketball, I feel like is somewhat of a wash, but I'll give the edge to in person just because it's so incredible to watch these guys, perform and fly around and jump around like they do. And baseball, I kind of think is a wash as well. I know a lot of people don't like baseball. I love watching baseball. I'd say soccer is probably better in person. And so with that discussion in mind, I'd probably go, I would go for sure. UFC is better on television, though I would add, you must, if you're a fan, go to a big event, feel the energy. The atmosphere is unlike anything. It's so fun to watch the walkouts and the buzz, especially when it's a big event. Definitely suggest doing it in person. But, at this point, I'm somewhat spoiled. Over and over again, I think on TV, if I'm being objective and comparing the two, I think the TV experience you get more out of.
Sure. That's fair. Done a bunch of them. You're going to have a great time, Kyle. Hopefully you got some seats that are a little bit elevated. As Ariel said, the cage becomes a bit cumbersome at a certain point. Hopefully you can peer down into it, but you're going to have a good time at that Pittsburgh card. Obviously not happening this year, again from our friend Jason Jones. Obviously not happening this year, but do you think Hawaii will finally get an event this year?
No, I don't think it's... Oh, next year.
Next year, sorry.
Next year is next year. I'm not sure about that. We'll see what happens with Max. I think the better Max does.
Max keeps on trucking.
Yeah. Our good pal Rob DeMello, I think I told the story a couple of weeks ago, talked about some of the political issues and taxes and right of first refusal. There's an arena there that's owned by the state that they get the right to accept or turn down events, and it's a small arena and it's not one very much conducive to big events. But it seems like they got over that hump. And so there's another arena that's a little bigger, but maybe not big enough. It doesn't have the right infrastructure. And then outdoors is a little tricky and it's expensive to take a whole crew there. Although at this point, I mean, they're going to Shanghai. They're going all over the place. So I don't really buy that.
Make this happen.
Yeah, make it happen. Basically, bottom line, make it happen. Because Bellator is going to go there soon, I think. And they've got a couple of fighters. I mean, Ali Malay McFarlane and some other, and Rich Chow is their matchmaker. And he has great ties to the region. So yeah, you got a champion who's from Hawaii.
You bring Max Holloway there. That's money.
Yeah.
I'll be there. You make that happen for me. Just for me, guys. Come on. This question was selected earlier. Any update on potential Tony versus Khabib fight? You were mentioning that was talked about, but not ultimately going to happen. So I wouldn't say it's dead right now, but there has definitely been talk of Tony versus Kevin Lee. So maybe, they're going to move on. And here's the question. Are we ever going to get Tony
I don't know. I'll tell you this much.
And does anybody care at this point?
Twitter back and forth is not, I don't think it's gaining the traction that they wanted to, right? It's not having the effect that they wanted to, the Twitter back and forth. Now, I will admit, Mr. Ferguson has blocked me recently on Twitter. I don't know why. In fact, I asked him at the first leg of the LA tour why he blocked me on Twitter. And he essentially told me to scram and run along. I don't know. I feel like we've had a great relationship. I don't really get that one. But he did recently block me on Twitter. I think he didn't like my take on the Ferguson-Lee back and forth on FS1. But I said basically that I thought Fox should just leave him out of it, and it's putting him in an awkward spot. But I don't know. So I haven't gotten to see all of it, but I've seen some of it, and it's not great. But I want to see them fight. Like if they announce that fight, I'd be happy. It's just maybe a tough sell because they promised it so many times.
Would you really be happy though? Because they can announce it as many times as they want until it happens. I'm kind of... it's weird because
at this point,
they announced Jones Cormier 10 times, and I was just as excited for every one of them. For this one, I'm not feeling it.
What would you prefer? Ferguson
Tony
Lee?
Versus anybody.
No, Ferguson Lee or Ferguson Khabib? If you have both of them.
Sure, but you can announce that, and I can't count on it. I believe that Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson will make it to make it to the fight.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather see the fight that's actually going to happen than the one that's not.
Worthy for a pay-per-view, though?
Listen, the Motown Phenom is
Stop it.
Pay-per-view ready.
And also, Motown Phenom should be fighting in Detroit. I mean, that would be a big miss.
I agree with that.
I mean, if you put him on this card and he doesn't fight in Detroit, man, that'd be like going to, I mean, obviously on the same scale, but like you're going to Montreal without GSP or you're going to Dublin without, like this guy, it's in his nickname.
Yeah. I agree with that for sure. There's a second question here. RDA Woodley, any
Woodley is, I mean, he just fought and he's got the shoulder. And by the way, RDA is fighting Neil Magny.
If he gets over that hump, do you think that's enough? Do you think he's done enough in that division?
I mean, that would be 2-0, and he is a former champion at 155.
Former lightweight, yep.
I think you have to see how he looks at 155 because I think the last fight wasn't, didn't blow anyone's socks off. But there aren't a lot of surefire contenders. I mean, there's Robbie coming back.
It's crazy how that happened, right?
And
it seemed like it was all stacking up, and now all of a sudden it's bare.
If Masvidal beats Wonderboy, if they do that fight, which it seems like they want to do that fight, then I could see them giving it to Masvidal because they seem to really like him. They're obviously not going to do Wonderboy anytime soon.
Make UFC great again.
Masvidal, Lawler, those names, RDA
from our own
be in there.
From our own Ali, who's literally sitting like 3 feet behind me.
A nice chap.
Asked Joe Lauzon, UFC Hall of Fame at the end of his career, 22 UFC wins, 15 bonuses. What do you think? Does Joe Lauzon make the cut? Does he get his plaque on that wall in the Performance Institute?
Look, can I answer Ali face to face? Where is he?
Ali, why don't you?
Ali Baisley, who all of a sudden is in studio, came here from England. Oh, there he is. Hey, Ali. How are you? Why are you so shy? You do camera work yourself.
No, he's not shy.
Ollie has been watching MMA since UFC 199 and for some reason is a huge Joe Lauzon fan. What do you
mean for some reason?
Well, no, I mean, it's just like he's from England. I don't know, Joe Lauzon, but he did say he likes Michael Bisping. Anyway, what is it? Can he speak or does he not have a mic?
He'd have to come
closer. Okay, it's all right. There he is. Rob is really zooming in on him.
Wave to
everyone, Ollie. From Sheffield, right? Close enough. Joe Lauzon, is he a Hall of Famer? That is a very good question. It pains my heart, but I have to say no.
Whoa.
No?
I'm surprised.
Never fought for a belt.
Yeah. But kind of synonymous with like tough UFC fights, bonuses. He is the bonus guy. Him, Anderson Silva have just continued to rack up.
Is that enough?
Bonuses. In my opinion, I think so. I think he should make the cut. I really do. Now you could definitely say like there's other people who we've had this kind of conversation about, like a Diego Sanchez, a Kenny Florian, never won a belt, competed for titles but never won a belt, but had more significance, I guess, to like the beginnings of the sport, or at least the beginnings of the UFC. I think ultimately Lauzon has done enough in the UFC, enough wins, enough ups and downs, enough bonuses won to make the cut. How about this? Joe Lauzon would be in my Hall of Fame.
All right, fine. Listen, what is the UFC Hall of Fame? Why not?
That's the thing. Yeah. Like, if there was like,
I'm talking about the MMA Hall of Fame here.
Okay.
I mean,
well, that's a different thing.
I actually just visited the UFC Hall of Fame. It's
yeah, I was saying, does he get his plaque on the staircase?
Right next to the cafeteria.
Yeah,
down the stairs. I was actually thinking like MMA Hall of Fame. Like
you're saying, like let's say we created this Hall of Fame.
Yes.
That's a different question, and ultimately maybe there I'd sway away. But I think
UFC Hall of Fame, sure, yeah.
He's been important enough to the UFC.
Fair enough,
in my opinion.
Bonus King, Ollie, you got your Hall of Fame. There it is. Joe Lauzon headed to the Hall of Fame near you.
Do we think the Snoopcast will open the door for other alternate commentary options?
Like Rogan's. I wouldn't be surprised if one day they use the Rogan Fight Companion. I always thought that the Rogan Fight Companion was interesting if you're the broadcasters working the event, because you're getting people away from Anik and Stan and things like that. So I don't know if they would want to go head to head with that. But it's another reason to get people watching. So I think people like it. I think it has been successful. Maybe it's a Fight Pass option to get people buying, to get people watching. I wouldn't rule it out, especially not in this brave new world. I tried to speak to Ari Emanuel, by the way, at the media day, but he kind of just brushed me off, unfortunately. I could have asked him that. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have asked him that, but I could have. He doesn't like to do interviews. I thought we shared the same name. He'd be a little more inclined, but thus far it has proven to be difficult.
Here's a kind of BTS question about this show. How much homework do you guys do every week to prepare for these shows? Hours and hours of interview watching and writing and prep work?
My favorite part of this question from Jay Petrie is the word guys, as if you do the interviews as well or do any of the prep work.
I'm supporting you from the back here.
That's my favorite part of this question. I love when people like tweet you like, oh, New York Rick, great job with that interview.
How about this, though?
Great job with that interview.
How about this? I would argue that I do more prep for the show than you do.
That is in fact true. I mean, actually, no, it's not true because when I think of prep, I think of getting the guests, right?
That's fair. That is definitely a big part
that
of
is the bane of my existence.
You've long discussed this.
Because that is a tough thing. You think it's easy to get, GSP and all that.
But I think people will be interested to know like a little bit of the insight into like, are you sitting there like poring over certain fights?
Okay, so let's talk about this week quickly. I'll tell you this. So I pride myself on having like this brain. I try to make it encyclopedic where like if Nate Diaz walked in here, I could do 2 hours with him. If Conor walked in here, like I didn't prep for that Conor interview because I live and breathe it. I'm obsessed with it, probably to a fault. So let's say, okay, I get the lineup. If I don't feel like I've, totally devoted myself to one singular person, or if I haven't really talked to them before, then I'll do a little bit of research. But let's just say this week, right? DC did 0. I mean, I could do that interview in my sleep. There's no research to be done there. Heather Hardy, I read a couple of backstory articles about her past because, again, new to the show. GSP, no research whatsoever. Shayna Baszler, no research whatsoever. Brad Pickett, no research whatsoever. Hardy, Malignaggi, no research. Cody, no research. So the only one that I read a little bit about was Heather Hardy. There's nothing on my screen. You can see it right here. It's just...
We believe you. You don't have to...
It's just my Twitter and my email so I could talk to New York Rick. There's no notes. There's no questions. There's nothing. I don't like to write questions. People ask me this a lot. I don't like to write questions because I feel like then you stick to a script and I feel like you don't listen and ask the proper follow-ups. I don't like to write questions at all. I have a lot of useless MMA info in my brain right now.
Now, you won't write something down, which I know to be true as well. We talked about this before. But if you know somebody's coming on, clearly there has to be some kind of framework.
Yeah, there's a path that I want to go. I want to start here. I want to end here. I want to go there. I want to make sure I ask this, that, and the other.
But you feel like if you're committing it, then you're kind of like taking yourself down a track that you don't need to, really. You want to be freer and more open. I used to have
a show in college called The Main Event. And it was a combat sports show, and I used to write every single question, like write it out, the entire, do you think, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized very early on that I was sticking to a script and I wasn't listening, and it was a crutch. And so I didn't want to use that crutch. And I just wanted it to be like I was at a party or a bar or a restaurant or someone's home and just having a conversation. Now, there are times where it comes to bite me in the butt, and I'm like, I can't believe I forgot to ask this question. Like last week with Paulie, I wanted to ask him if he changed his opinion on Conor after sparring him, and it pissed me off.
Listen, I mean, you didn't really have many opportunities to ask Paulie anything last week.
That's true. But hey, I got him back this week, so it all worked out.
Look, I took some heat for saying that I think Paulie's open and honest. Look, that's my opinion. I really believe
people think he's lying.
Well, people think he got knocked down and he's been saying he didn't get knocked down. Like whatever you think happened in that footage is fine and your allegiances are fine. But look, I think Paulie Malignaggi's ultimately a straight shooter. That's where I net out on this. Who's trying to also protect his reputation and build a fight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of elements to this. But anyway, enough about me. Ariel, are you still a Leicester?
Come on.
Leicester?
Yes.
City fan? Or have you already jumped on another bandwagon? How are they doing in the standings? How about that?
Listen, it was going to be impossible to recreate the magic of last season. They pulled off maybe one of the greatest upsets in the history of professional sports, let alone soccer. Or football, as you locals like to say over in England. Tough one on Friday. Lost 4-3 to Arsenal. So certainly that was a tough one. But look,
keep going.
The problem is that that was the ultimate Rocky story, the ultimate David versus Goliath story. The problem is that, the expectations afterwards, I mean, to me, that was enough. That's like the Cubs winning, right? It's hard to recreate that kind of magic. Of course, Jamie.
Have you typed fast enough to find?
I haven't typed the thing. Jamie Vardy, my man.
That's the chat shit get banged guy, right?
Legend. Jamie Vardy likes to party.
Even I know that one, and I don't know anything after that.
Yeah. So look, I'm content. You win.
You got your crown.
Yeah. If the Knicks won this upcoming season, I would.
You'll ride on that for a few years.
I'm done.
Yeah. I feel that.
So I know some of the fans are upset. I know it's been a bit of a down year, but let's not forget the magic of last season. I have. Do I have my mug?
Yeah. Where's our mug from Christopher?
Where is it? It's somewhere.
Might not be on the set today.
We like to switch things up, but look, what Leicester City did for us.
Leicester City. Okay, good.
King Power Stadium.
You're just gonna name like things. Just a list of like bullet point things. No, listen. You were more prepared for that than I thought you were.
Look, am I excited for the game on August 19th against Brighton? Of course I am. Am I looking ahead to Sheffield United? Yes.
Okay, so the schedule is up.
Do I think we're going to take down Man U? Of course we are. But the season just started, by the way. It's not like...
Yeah, don't despair. Yeah. There's still time. Okay, Ariel, do you own a T-shirt or are you only plaid and suits? I think people will...
long sleeve plaid and suit. Well, look at the Conor interview. I was not wearing plaid in that one, right?
Button-ups?
It's like the great Roddy Piper once said, just when you think you have all the answers, I change the questions. So just when you think I'm going to break out a plaid, I break out a yellow. No, I have many a T-shirt. In fact, some might argue too many, like my wife.
Yeah.
I actually just found this website, by the way, that has all the old basketball like character T-shirts. So yesterday I was wearing the Dream Team one from 1992.
What do you mean by character?
Like the ones where it's like the cartoons of the teams.
Yeah.
Or like the All-Star Game or the Dream Team one. I found one that has every single one under the sun. Patrick Ewing. I got a Charles Oakley. I got an ABA one. I got a Dream Team. I got a 1987 NBA All-Star Game one. So I'm all about that right now. I used to love Nomas. They had the best T-shirts, but I don't think they make any. I like Roots of Fight, of course. Love my friends over at Roots of Fight. I don't have any baseball Roots of Fight ones or Roots of Baseball. But yes, I have many a T-shirt. I only wear the button-downs when it's
work time.
Yeah.
It's time to go pro.
Button.
Okay. Why does New York Rick avoid answering Game of Thrones questions? Because I don't know anything about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Stupid question.
Why are you the way that you are? I am what I am. I don't know.
That's it? Okay.
Raging Owl Realty, Ayaquinta Realty. Who's ready to be a homeowner? Look, are you looking for?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Are you?
You're happy.
Yes.
Look, I might be in the market for something soon. I would go to the real Al Ayaquinta, but
yeah, is this the real Al Ayaquinta?
No, this is not the real Al.
I'm pretty sure it is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. This is a parody.
I'll tell you,
a pretty good one.
Yes,
but not.
Are you being serious?
This is not him.
Okay.
This. I think
I would
this
go
is
to
the
him
last
though.
one.
The real one.
Yeah, I would go to Al. Predictions for NXT and SummerSlam in Brooklyn.
Oh.
What do you know about this?
I know that Glorious.
I'm hoping you know something because I don't know much.
Okay. Bobby Roode. I think he's a part of it.
He's on it? Okay.
Actually,
great.
Mark Ramundi, who's turned into the biggest wrestling mark, I think he's actually trying to transition out. And by the way, Ramundi told me that people said to him that I said that he was 5'2" on the show. I don't remember saying that. Do you?
I mean, if that was a thing that was said, like, I don't know.
Remember saying that. And if I did,
I didn't mark that.
I would never
in my calendar.
I would never. Come on, at least 5'1". I'm just joking.
You messed that up. But
did I mess it up? I thought I did.
Well, you're like at least 5'1". Or you're saying you overshot it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn it. I mean, it is almost. What's the question again? This is actually really bad. I never said that.
Well, yeah,
I never said that. And I actually never said that. NXT.
NXT and SummerSlam.
Ramundi told me.
It's in Brooklyn.
Are you going? Don't you usually go?
Somebody from WWE sometimes hooks it up. I would like to.
Should have asked the guy who called in with Baszler.
Oh, snap. I should have.
That would have been poor form.
Hey, thanks for calling in today, by the way.
I see you trying to suck up to those cheap heat guys. What is that all about?
I love that podcast. What do you mean suck up? I love the podcast.
The new one?
What do you mean the new one?
Isn't there like a new version of it?
Well, it's had different hosts over the years. I love.
We're the hosts right now.
Peter
We
Rosenberg
host like every single show under the sun.
and Greg Hyde, Stat Guy, aka Stat Guy Greg. I just love that podcast. And I don't, as you know, it's hard to believe because sometimes I check.
What
in
about
from
Brian
time to time
Campbell?
with the wrestling stuff? No, he's not on it anymore.
What about
CBS?
Masked Man?
Campbell, I think.
Shoemaker.
I like that podcast as well. He has his own, but he's not on the Cheap Heat one anymore. Listen, I like what I like, Ariel.
All right. No, but what were you trying to get into? Like some sort of
they're
live?
doing like a fan thing on Friday. I'm hoping to
Must
be
be
there.
nice.
What do you mean?
Be real nice.
Look, I'm a man of diverse.
So are you going to the event? Either event?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
But if anybody wants
To invite you. Basically, what you're asking people to do is do the reverse Rick's Ticks, where you took a fan.
If you want the company of a real wrestling fan who's going to be able to break it all down with you,
Samoa Joe
chop
against
it
Brock
up.
Lesnar. No, it's a four-way. Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and someone else. I don't know the rest.
Brock. Okay, I'm in.
This is it. This is the match before the John Jones fight.
Let's do it. I would like to go. Maybe I'll buy some tickets. I've long said, we were talking about live versus not live, watching on TV. Live wrestling is really, really fun.
Oh.
I would go.
Live wrestling is tremendous. It's a little off not having the commentary, but it is tremendous.
Yeah, that is, but the crowd is different at a wrestling match, I'd say, than anything else. It really gets you into it. Anyway, I think we talked enough about wrestling because I really don't know anything else that's happening. But Brock Lesnar, that's cool.
Brock's on it.
That's it. We're done.
Oh, my bud Bennett Brower is asking, what happens first? The Expos come back to Montreal or GSP fights in Canada?
Well,
I'm going to go with GSP fighting in Canada, unfortunately, but they will both happen at some point. Bennett, by the way, fantastic baseball writer. SB Nation should hire him. I don't know what's taking them so long.
You're confident the Expos are coming back at some point, though?
Yes, in my lifetime. Okay, and this is the last one. Oh, he just deleted it. I saw it, and then it just disappeared. Bennett.
Was it Mark
asking
all what the hell's your problem?
What's wrong with this guy? No, he said, I remember it, but I don't know why he deleted it. And let's end on this. He said, will Conor fight Paulie within the next 16 months? What do you say? In a boxing match. I feel like Paulie would do MMA, by the way.
Yeah, look, Paulie is a sharp dude. If the stipulation comes to, hey, I'm not going to box you, but come to my arena, shit, I think Paulie would do it. I don't think Floyd would do it, but I think Paulie would do it. 16 months? Yeah, that's plenty of time. Conor can knock out this fight with Mayweather, knock out 1 or 2 MMA fights, and still do that. So, yeah, I think so.
See, people think that he's never coming back to MMA. I think he will. But to have those options open where he can make that much money.
Yeah. He doesn't have to come back to MMA, but I think he's coming back.
Yeah, I don't know if they let him go if they don't get that sort of deal in place beforehand. You know what I mean?
Sure.
All right. It has been fun. One more Monday before Mayweather McGregor. We'll be back next Monday to talk about it all. Thank you very much, New York Rick. Thank you very much to everyone in the back. It has been a fun show. You can hear my music. Thank you. Yes, back home for another week. Back from Las Vegas. It's always fun to be there, but it is even funner, more fun to be back home. 12 days away, my friends. And there's not much going on in the MMA world, so we can focus on it. I know some people don't like it, but I would suggest that most people do. It has been a fun ride, and we are almost there. Even more interesting is what's going to happen, but then what's going to happen after the fight. Where does Conor go from here? What happens to Mayweather? All that stuff and more. It is a very fun time. Next week, I'm going to tell you about our Fight Week coverage, but I'll leave you hanging just a little longer. I want to thank everyone who stopped by. I want to thank everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much to Daniel Cormier. So great to talk to him. Great to hear that he's feeling better, went on his honeymoon in good spirits. Appreciate his time very much. Thank you very much to Heather Hardy for coming in studio. What a pleasure that was. She is a gem. And thank you for breaking that news regarding her return to Bellator October 20th. Thank you very much to GSP. Congratulations on signing the deal. Welcome back. Looking forward to it. Good luck. November 4th, MSG against one Michael Bisping. Thank you very much to Shayna Baszler. Good luck to her. Mae Young Classic. WWE Network. It starts August 28th. It ends in September. in Las Vegas. Thank you very much to Brad Pickett. Good luck, Polaris 5 this Saturday. Thank you very much to Dan Hardy. Good luck, Sky Sports, next week. And thank you very much once again to one Paulie Malinaji for stopping by 2 weeks in a row. Back next week, same time and place. Peace. I'm out of here.